This is Super Jeopardy, the continuing $250,000 challenge. Now in the studio is our first group of semifinalists. A student from Sioux City, Iowa, Eric Newhouse. A writer from Evanston, Illinois, Eugene Finerman. And a playwright, actor, and director from New York City, New York, Bob Verini. And now, here is the host of Super Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first of our semifinal games in this summer's Super Jeopardy Invitational Tournament, in which, as you know, we are featuring some of the very best Jeopardy players from the past 6 years. Here's how today's three semifinalists got to be here. 3 weeks ago, Bob Verini, a Tournament of Champions winner from Season 4, won his quarterfinal match. The following week, Eugene Finerman was the only player to come up with a correct response in Final Jeopardy to take his quarterfinal game. And then last week, Eric Newhouse, in what he said was a lucky guess, came up with a correct response in Final Jeopardy to take his quarterfinal game. And that brings us to this configuration for the first of our semifinals. And this is a very important game for these three individuals because whoever wins today assures himself of at least $25,000 because that is third place money in the final. Second place is $50,000. And first place, a cool $250,000, $250,000 to the winner of Game 13. So far in the three quarterfinal matches, Eric, Eugene, and Bob have demonstrated not only great intellectual skills, but a great sense of humor as well, and we hope that in this half hour we get to see both of those qualities expressed. Gentlemen, good luck. Let's go to work and play this first round. One daily double in this round of play, you know that. Here are the categories for you. We start off with state capitals, followed by saints and sinners. Next comes artists, world history, hodgepodge, and finally, Smiths. Bob, you were the first qualifier. You get to select first.
Smiths for 1,000.
The answer there is this. She wrote over 70 one-act plays, but is best known for her first novel, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Eric.
Who's Betty Smith?
You are right.
State capitals for 1,000.
Answer there. State capital closest to Philadelphia. Bob.
What is Trenton?
Trenton, New Jersey. That's right.
Smiths for 800.
Answer. Much of this British poet's works dealt with death, including her most famous, Not Waving, but Drowning. Bob.
Who is Stevie Smith?
Correct.
Smiths for 600.
This New York Daily News columnist once said that gossip is news in a red satin dress. Bob.
Who is Liz Smith?
Yes.
Smiths for 400.
This former ABC News anchor played himself in Close Encounters of the Third Kind and The Candidate. The Smith in this instance is Howard K., who is Howard K. Smith. Bob, back to you.
Smiths for 200.
The Pilgrims used the maps and books of this founder of Virginia, but did not accept his services. Eric.
Who's John Smith?
Captain John Smith, correct.
Artist for 1,000.
Answer. His 1863 work, Luncheon on the Grass, was based on Concert Champêtre, painted centuries earlier. Eric.
Who's Manet?
Edouard Manet, right.
World history for 1,000.
Answer. This smallest Balkan country didn't become independent until the 20th century. Eric.
What is Albania?
Right.
World history for 800.
By 1906, British New Guinea had become a territory of Australia and was renamed this. Bob.
What is Papua New Guinea?
Yes.
Hodgepodge for 1,000.
Answer there. All the King's Men can't bring this U.S. Poet Laureate back again. He died September 15th, 1989. Eric.
Who's Robert Penn Warren?
Right.
State capitals 800.
Answer. These two capitals both end in P-O-L-I-S. Eugene.
What are Indianapolis and Annapolis?
You are right, and you're on the board.
About time. World history for 6, please.
Answer. After discovering the Philippines in March of 1521, he stayed there for about a month and was killed. Bob.
Who is Magellan?
Correct.
Saints and sinners for 1,000.
The king who had St. Thomas of Becket put to death. Eric.
Who's Henry II?
Right.
Artist for 800.
Answer. A portrait of Dr. Gachet by this artist sold in 1990 for $82.5 million. Bob.
Who is Van Gogh?
Correct.
Saints and sinners for 800.
The king who had St. Thomas More put to death. Eric.
Who's Henry VIII?
Right.
Hodgepodge for 800.
Answer. This Scottish missionary explored the Kalahari Desert and discovered the Zambezi River in 1851. Bob.
Who's Livingston?
Dr. Livingston is correct, and with that 800 points, your score goes to 5,400. You trail Eric by 600. We're going to pause now. We'll come back to find out how the three of you got here. We'll show our viewers some of those moments when we return after these messages. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A few moments ago, at the beginning of our program today, I said that Eric Newhouse got to this semifinal by a lucky guess. Those are not my words, but his. You can see for yourselves right now as we show you the end of last week's quarterfinal game. To Eric Newhouse, who had 14,200. He's shaking his head. Why is that? Let's take a look. Who was Admiral Byrd? You are right. What was your wager? 14,200. That doubles you to 28,400 points. Guess what, Eric Newhouse? You're a semifinalist. Congratulations again, Eric. Those lucky guesses are worth every bit as much as something you know as a dead sure thing, right?
Well, I don't know. That's not really what I meant, though. It wasn't so much a lucky guess as the only name I could possibly think of.
But that's all right. That counts. You told me after that you've been enjoying a certain degree of fame as a result of your appearances on Jeopardy. Can you tell us about that? And in particular, I want you to tell the folks about the car accident in which you were involved.
It wasn't so much a car accident. I'd love to see my mother's reaction to this since I didn't tell her about it. But, I don't know, I was in a near accident about a week before I came on. So, of course, the usual crowd came running out, and the first thing I heard, other than, or you heard, he looks at me and says, "You were on Jeopardy, weren't you?" And I said, like, "Oh, hi there."
Worked out well for you, right, Eric?
Well, it's a life.
Okay, yes. Good luck to you today in this semifinal game. The man next to you, Eugene Finerman, also discovered the benefits of appearing on Jeopardy and the benefits of some fame. Here's what happened to him.
They interviewed me, so either I'm going to be exposed as a new village idiot, or I'm on my way to becoming a god. In which case, I'll have to move out to California.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't move out to California, please, Eugene. I'm just wondering how long you and Bob Verini are going to keep appearing on Jeopardy in order to make money and earn a living.
Actually, I was hoping Bob and I could form a tag team to take on Chuck Forrest. It'd sort of be like Ellis Island versus Henry James.
Well, before you get a chance to take on Chuck Forrest, of course,
together with him as a tag team.
He will have to win his quarterfinal and his semifinal. What's happened to you in the past few years, Eugene, since you appeared on our show initially?
Well, I used the money to acquire a set of principles, which meant I couldn't be in public relations anymore. I got tired of ghostwriting for, executives, and I decided, well, let's see if I can try writing for myself. So I have, lived off my Jeopardy winnings and am the struggling writer.
Well, good for you. You're always most welcome here because of your marvelous sense of humor. The man next to you, Bob Verini, is also most welcome because he's an entertainer. And every time he appears on our program, he gives us a new impression. Let's take a look at one of them.
This is James Mason. Join me, won't you, for a fascinating and probing look at an American disgrace. See Steinbrenner, Plague or Pestilence. Tonight at 8, 7 Central Time, here on ABC.
Some things never change.
Yes, Bob, have you come up with any new ones?
Certainly George Steinbrenner hasn't changed in those years, has he? Well, everybody always asks us, I think I speak for everyone here, everybody always asks, what is Alex like? Is he as nice in person as he is on the show? And of course we say more so. But
thank you for that.
They always say, can you do an impression of Alex? And so I'll say, no, sorry. The correct question, what is New Brunswick, which I visited many times, being from Canada, great fishing up there. Sorry, no.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to put us right back into this first round. And Bob, you have 5,400 points and control of the board. Make the selection.
Yeah, Saints and Sinners for 600.
The answer is Saint Monica's son, who lived a dissolute youth, as he admitted in his confessions. Bob.
Who is St. Augustine?
Correct.
Artists for 600?
Answer. Look around Goya's works and you'll spot several bichons frisés, which are these. Eugene.
What are dogs?
That's right.
Let's try Saints and Sinners for 400, please.
Answer. Mark's gospel says this woman whom Jesus cured of 7 demons was the first to see him resurrected. Eugene?
Who was Martha?
No. Sorry.
Serves me right, it wasn't my testament anyway.
Well, Bob set me up. Eric and Bob, neither one of you have a response, and so I will tell you that the correct response is who is Mary Magdalene. Eugene, back to you.
World history for 400, please.
Answer. On May 30th, 1967, it declared itself a republic and seceded from Nigeria. Eugene.
What is Biafra?
Right.
Let's try artist for 400.
Answer. He was the subject of Gilbert Stuart's Vaughan, Lansdowne, and Athenaeum portraits. Bob.
Who was George Washington?
Correct.
Hodgepodge for 600.
Answer. The Royal Opera House in London has staged this Beethoven opera over 100 times since World War II. Eugene.
What is Fidelio?
Correct.
Let's try Hodgepodge for 400, please.
In 1802, Napoleon instituted this award, France's highest. Bob.
What is the Legion of Honor?
Correct.
Artist for 200.
Answer. Unlike other artists of the time, Leonardo based these angel parts on the ones that birds have. Eugene.
What are wings?
Right.
World history for 200, please.
Answer. In 1947, Britain's George VI dropped his title as emperor of this country. Bob?
What is India?
Yes.
State capitals for 600.
I was wondering when we'd get back to that category. You have just uncovered the daily double, Bob. And you have 7,000 points and the lead at the moment.
1,000.
For 1,000 points in state capitals, here is your clue. Listing the states alphabetically, this is the capital of the state at the top of the list.
What is Little Rock? No! Oh, no!
Oh, no, indeed. What should you have said?
I don't remember, but it's not that.
No. The state at the top of the list is Alabama. The capital of that state
Montgomery.
is Montgomery.
Yeah.
And so, ooh, sorry, Bob.
Sorry.
Select again.
Oh, I knew I was going to get punished. State capitals for 400.
It's named for a Maine general's daughter. Bob?
What is Augusta?
Yes.
Why couldn't it have been there? Saints and Sinners for 200.
Answer. He expected a debate, but didn't expect to start a new church when he posted his 95 Theses in 1517. Eric?
Martin Luther. Who's Martin Luther?
That's right.
About time. State capitals for 200.
When Houston became Texas capital in 1842, this city kept the archives and forced a move back to it. Eugene?
What's Austin?
Austin is right. One more clue, $200, 200 points rather, in Hodgepodge. Blow the Man Down is an example of this type of song sailors sang while working on sailing ships. Eugene?
What's a shanty?
You are right, and that gives you 200 points more. Our scores at the moment, Bob with 6,400, Eugene 2,600, and Eric with 6,200. We'll pause now. We'll come back to play the Double Jeopardy round following this. Thank you for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for the Double Jeopardy round, in which the clues will be worth from 500 to 2,500 points. In all of these quarterfinals and semifinal games, our contestants are dealing with points only, not dollars. That's not to say that the money is not important, because the two players who are eliminated today will each take away $10,000 in cash. The winner, of course, moves into the final with a guarantee of $25,000. Let's put the board in motion, and I will remind everyone about the two daily doubles, which can be found in these categories. We have the Animal Kingdom, Musical Theater, Japan, Architecture, Democrats, and finally, Classical Literature. And Eugene, it is your choice.
I'd like to try classical literature for 500, please.
The answer is, the people Aeneas led to Italy to found Rome were the losers in this war. Eric?
What is the Trojan War?
Correct.
Japan for 2,000.
Answer. The first Japanese film director to become famous internationally. His films include Rashomon and The Seven Samurai. Eric?
Who's Kurosawa?
Right again.
Japan for 2,500.
The Ainu, most of whom live on this northernmost island, may have been Japan's first inhabitants. Eric?
What is Hokkaido?
Correct again.
Japan for 1,500.
In a traditional Japanese home, floors are covered with straw mats called these. Eric.
Order tatami.
Yes.
Japan for 1,000.
Occurring nearly 1,500 times a year, one of these led to more than 100,000 deaths in 1923. Bob.
What are earthquakes?
Yes.
Musical theater for 2,500.
Answer. Gertrude Lawrence was the lady in the title of this 1941 musical about psychoanalysis. Bob.
What is Lady in the Dark?
Yes.
Musical theater for 2,000.
Answer there, one of the 2 daily doubles, and it is an audio. You have 9,900 points, Bob.
9,900 points it is.
Whoa, gutsy move. 2 daily double in musical theater. Here is the clue first. One-word title of the 1980 musical which featured the following. Listen to the music.
When the pill the doctor gave you turned your cold to the grip. When a stitch to save 9 others comes apart with a rip. When the rats invade your attic and start leaving your ship. Follow my tip, come away on a trip. Just join the circus.
What is Barnum?
Barnum is right. 19,800 points for Bob as he moves into the lead again.
Musical theater for 1,500.
The title character of this comical 1956 musical almost marries Appassionata von Climax. Eugene.
Who's Little Abner?
Right.
Musical theater for 1,000.
The original cast album of this Broadway musical features a rose and a mask on the cover. Eric.
What is Phantom of the Opera?
Right.
Democrats for 2,500.
Answer. He lost the presidential nomination to Hubert Humphrey in 1968 and ran as an independent in 1976. Eugene.
Who is Eugene McCarthy?
Right.
Democrats for 2,000.
He's been an Arizona congressman since 1961, when his brother vacated the seat to join JFK's cabinet. Eugene?
Who is Morris Udall?
Correct.
Democrats for 1,500.
William A. O'Neill has been governor of Connecticut since she resigned because of illness. Eugene?
Who is Ella Grasso?
Right.
Democrats for 1,000.
Colorado congresswoman who was and almost ran in the 1988 presidential race. Bob?
Who's Pat Schroeder?
Right.
Musical theater for 500.
Last name shared by musical theater greats Moss and Lawrence. Eugene?
What is Hart?
Correct.
Democrats for 500, please.
In May 1990, Daniel Akaka became this state's new junior senator, replacing Spark Matsunaga. Eugene?
What is Hawaii?
You are right again.
Classical literature for 1,000, please.
Answer? The elder wrote natural history, and the younger, his nephew and adopted son, was known for his books of letters. Bob?
Who is Pliny?
Pliny is right.
Classical literature for 1,500.
Answer there. Philosopher who was grossly caricatured in Aristophanes' The Clouds. Eugene?
Who is Socrates?
Yes.
Classical literature for 2,000.
This first Greek historian attempted to write a history of the world up to his own time. Bob?
Who is Thucydides?
No. Eric?
Who's Herodotus?
That's the right one.
Architecture for 2,500.
Chicagoan who has been called the father of the American skyscraper. Bob?
Who is Louis Sullivan?
Yes.
Classical literature for 2,500.
This Roman poet fought for Brutus before settling down to write his epodes and odes. Eugene?
Who is Horace?
Good.
Let's try architecture for 500, please.
Answer at the top of that column. Wallace K. Harrison designed the Metropolitan Opera House as part of this New York City complex. Bob?
What is Lincoln Center?
Yes.
Architecture for 2,000.
Answer there. Pseudonym of Swiss architect and city planner Charles-Edouard Jeanneret. Bob?
Who is Le Corbusier?
Yes, and we have a minute to go.
Architecture for 1,500.
At age 13, he emigrated from Finland to the United States with his architect father, Eliel. Eric?
Who's Eero Saarinen?
Right.
Animal Kingdom for 2,000.
Answer. The second largest deer in the world. It's also called the wapiti. Eric?
What is a caribou?
No. Bob or Eugene? Correct response. What is the American elk? Eric, back to you.
Animal Kingdom for 2,500.
Answer there, the other daily double. You can see the score, Eric. Bob has 9,600 points, more than you at the moment. And we're running out of time.
4,800.
For 4,800, the animal kingdom is the category. Here comes your clue. The disease myxomatosis was introduced to Australia in the 1950s to control them.
We're sheep.
No, sorry. Actually, it was to help the sheep because all of the land was being overgrazed by rabbits. It was to get rid of the rabbits. That cost you. You select again, however. Let's go.
Architecture for 1,000.
Answer. The Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore in Florence is called this after its massive dome. Eugene?
What is the Duomo.
That's right. Pick again. Oh, you won't get a chance to make any more selections. That wraps up the Double Jeopardy round. Bob in the lead with a total of 24,800 points. Eugene in second place with 16,100, and Eric in third with 10,400. Consider carefully, gentlemen, your wagers on Final Jeopardy, because as you know, only the champion moves on into the championship game. Our Final Jeopardy category today is this: geography. Think about it, make your wagers, and we'll come back with a clue right after this break.
Get ready to rock and roll as our players boogie for the big bucks in tonight's great real estate race.
I'd like to go to Atlantic Avenue.
America's favorite board game is now America's favorite TV game, Monopoly. Next.
Which one of our three contestants will, in the next few minutes, guarantee himself at least $25,000 in cash? We'll find out shortly. Gentlemen, I'll give you the clue. You'll then have 30 seconds to write down your question. Be sure you phrase your response correctly. The Final Jeopardy answer in the category geography is this: in area, it's the second largest country on the second largest continent. Both begin with the letter A. Good luck. Time's up, gentlemen. Eric, we're going to begin with you. You were in third place with 10,400 points. What did you put down as your response to this Final Jeopardy clue? What is Algeria? That is right. Your wager was the whole thing, so you double your score to 20,800 as we go to Eugene Finerman. Gene had 16,100 points. His response: what is Algeria? Right, of course. Your wager? 5,000. That takes you to 21,100. So both you and Eric have to hope that Bob Verini responded incorrectly. He's wearing his poker face. Let's take a look at his response. What is Algeria? And that's it. Congratulations, Bob. The wager is not important. You are a finalist in our Super Jeopardy tournament. Way to go. Superb performance. Congratulations to you. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start flight number 2 with these 4 Jeopardy champions. Johnny?
An attorney from Pomona, California, Keith Walker, whose cash winnings total $41,700. A communications consultant, originally from Appleton, Wisconsin, Kathy Boggs, whose winnings total $44,200. An actor from Oak Park, Illinois, Paul Rufa, who has won $51,100. And a foreign policy analyst from Reston, Virginia, Mark Lowenthal, with winnings of $149,901.
Enjoy the rest of the summer. Congratulations again. We'll see you in our big final match.
I'll be there.
And we hope, ladies and gentlemen, to have the pleasure of your company next week for a quarterfinal game. So long, everyone.
This is Johnny Gilbert speaking. Stay tuned for Monopoly, coming up next on ABC.
David Brinkley here. On our This Week program Sunday from the Houston, Texas Summit, what does NATO do with no enemy? We'll ask leaders of Britain, Canada, and the U.S.
Wednesday, Mike and Kate's romantic dinner turns up a fly in the soup on Growing Pains. Then, head of the class gets a new paint job. And on Doogie Howser, M.D., it's time for a makeover. Wednesday.